Hello, and thank you for joining us for Session 3, Partnership Impacts and Opportunities. In this session, we will explore the role of partnerships in facility development, opportunities to support local development in your area, and strategies for successful and sustainable partnerships. In our first section, we will begin defining the role and value of partnerships in the successful development of childcare facilities. Our objective through this section is to specifically focus on the ways that partnerships facilitate and sustain childcare facility processes and outcomes. Within this toolkit, we will explore three primary ways that partnerships foster optimized facility development, which are resource sharing and support, streamlined support to enhance development, and advocacy and policy development. Let's begin with resource sharing and support. Local coalitions, advisory groups, and planning committees are well-fit potential roles for governments, nonprofits, and local business leaders who can help pool resources and advocacy for childcare programs. These may include financial support, facilities, or materials that allow for the creation of more childcare slots or the improvement of existing ones, empowering local action and partnerships and aligning goals through the process. One of the greatest opportunities that exists are to streamline local regulations, funding streams, and other catalysts that drive childcare facility development. Local partnerships between government entities, private businesses, and nonprofits can combine financial resources to secure funding for childcare facility development. In addition, collaborative efforts can help streamline the approval process for land use, building permits, and health and safety regulations, which are often challenges in facility development. By pooling together public grants, private investments, and community donations, these partnerships can make it easier to meet the financial demands of building and operating a childcare center. Additionally, local businesses may contribute in-kind donations, such as materials or expertise, further speeding up development. Strong local support can also lead to favorable policies or expedited timeline for approval, improving the process of facility construction overall. Partnerships can also allow developers, businesses, nonprofits, governments, and others to work together to design and advocate for improved policies and funding streams. When community partners come together to express community needs, their shared voice speaks loudly and can help to move change forward. Some of the most common partners we have seen collaborating to support childcare facility development at the community level are city and government partners, housing developers, community foundations or philanthropic organizations, employers and business owners, and faith-based organizations. We would encourage anyone who is considering a childcare facility development project to engage with these types of partners and consider their role in identifying shared priorities and opportunities for partnerships, as the existing assets, needs, and priorities of these organizations may vary amongst different communities. Other less common but possible partners that may want to engage in this process are impact investors, land and building owners, trusts or conservancies, state departments, school districts, and higher ed institutions. These entities may have vested interests in economic mobility, home ownership, developing along qualified census tracts, or other key issues that align with the outcomes and community impacts of childcare, opening pathways to potential collaborations. In the next section, we'll discuss opportunities to support development efforts at the local level as you evaluate what role fits your needs best. Our objective is to review opportunities most relevant to local government and review opportunities for local governments, school districts, employers, and other business and community leaders to support local childcare infrastructure development through the renovation, expansion, or construction of childcare facilities. However, these concepts can also apply to more broad childcare solutions as well. Local action is needed. as it is a critical piece of what drives successful efforts to support childcare initiatives and adds value through capturing contextual knowledge of local needs, providing access to key records and other resources, and a direct line to decision makers and project leads, creating higher levels of efficiency and overall success. As we think about opportunities and potential roles for local governments and leaders to support childcare facility needs, we begin with the foundation of a data-backed rationale, aligned with existing priorities wherever possible. Serving as a convener often leads to partnerships with surrounding communities and provides a space to engage surrounding communities to understand their goals and opportunities to partner, convenes local businesses, nonprofits, and those supporting young children to generate ideas, and helps establish and share the business case and rationale for supporting childcare. A critical step in this foundation of data is the evaluation of local needs, such as conducting pulse check surveys with residents and workforce to monitor childcare needs and opportunities, sharing back findings with the communities, as well as collecting ongoing data that amplifies local need and supports ongoing efforts. This ongoing data collection amplifies local need, such as job vacancy rates, labor force participation in key industries, and other metrics that impact economic growth strategy in the short and long term. Other roles to consider include activating dedicating funding streams, as discussed earlier, through incentives to develop childcare facilities, tax credits, or other rebates for community-provided support of those facilities. In addition, allocating dollars to state-run subsidy programs, such as those introduced in Session 1 of this toolkit, like the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, can also be beneficial. Lastly, offering facilities, including providing low-cost access to county-owned spaces, listing parcels and buildings that can house childcare, and contemplating repurposing existing spaces to include childcare, are all models being implemented elsewhere, with opportunities to evaluate its feasibility in Colorado as locally generated and sustained solutions continue to be explored. This way of supporting childcare can be very helpful by reducing real estate costs for a provider, freeing up funding or other operating costs. And local governments in Colorado have purchased available real estate, identified existing government-owned properties, and embraced creative reuse or co-location throughout the state. Additionally, local governments have a unique opportunity to help streamline the process of developing new facilities or expanding existing ones. Just as we have done with affordable housing in many places, there is an opportunity to create incentives and expedited processes to promote the development of childcare. Childcare providers often spend a significant amount of time and money navigating building, planning, health, and licensing regulations, all before they are able to open their doors and start generating revenue. Any place where it is possible to reduce the time or expense involved helps to create a more sustainable childcare system. As part of House Bill 24-1237 on programs for the development of childcare facilities, the Department of Local Affairs will have a local government planning grant available. This planning grant will provide a menu of strategies and best practices for evaluating and streamlining local childcare facility development, and will provide funding for projects that aim to implement these practices. This incentive-based approach will help to support local governments in improving processes and policies, and will give us a set of best practices that may be replicated in other communities. Details on this grant opportunity are available on engagedola.org. In the next section, we will review some strategies for successful and sustainable partnerships at the community level. Our objective through this section is to ensure users of this toolkit understand some of the key steps in building successful partnerships to develop childcare facilities, as well as become familiar with some of the ways communities are implementing this work throughout the state. The primary steps we will cover today that can create optimal childcare support partnerships are aligning goals, values, and objectives, outlining clear roles and documenting key stakeholders, and identifying available needs and assets to fill gaps and other critical areas of need. Once you have identified a group of partners who is interested in pursuing a childcare project, you should spend some time together discussing and documenting your answers to these three questions, which should be used to guide your work throughout the process. What problem are we trying to solve? Who are we trying to serve? And what outcomes are we hoping to achieve? The answers to these questions will help you to identify operating model, size, location, funding mechanisms, and other key decision points in your planning process. Next, be sure to identify and document clear roles and key stakeholders. All successful collaboration processes, especially involving multiple departments, sectors, or organizations, should have clarity on project leadership, best fit roles, and any larger stakeholder or advisory engagement that needs to take place. Some of the questions you may seek to answer through this process are: what action steps are needed? Who will lead? And what are the roles of each partner in the development processes? Who will be the key stakeholders in the pre and post development of the facility? This will provide efficiency and help to tackle challenges quickly to avoid unnecessary costs or timeline impacts. Finally, partners should collectively identify what land, real estate, service, and monetary assets may be available to bring to the table for consideration, and where there are additional resources and supports that might be needed. It's important to consider all potential aspects of the costs incurred by childcare businesses to assess where needs most readily intersect with available assets prior to generating new ones. This may include exploring what key land and real estate assets can be considered, what service and monetary assets might be needed to support this operation, and what additional support should be considered or might be needed to ensure successful development of this facility. These can better determine pathways forward and structures of support. Let's pause to take a closer look at communities in action and learn more about current child care facility development efforts that are completed or in process in Colorado. The first is the Roseau Colfax development in Denver, which was born from an identified critical need for childcare, affordable housing, and other direct family services in the East Colfax neighborhood in Denver to support economic and workforce mobility goals in the area. Partner organizations included Mercy Housing, Mile High United Way, Mile High Early Learning, the City and County of Denver, and the Colorado Department of Local Affairs. To help make a solution possible, the City and County of Denver purchased a site in the East Colfax neighborhood in 2019 and awarded it to Mercy Housing through an RFP process. The mixed-use development includes 82 affordable homes and a child care facility to serve 48 infants, toddlers, and preschools. An additional component of a land use restriction on the property ensures affordability for 99 years. All units are between 2 and 4 bedrooms, conducive to new and growing families, and are income restricted to 30 to 70% of area median income, or AMI, providing support across two critical community needs through the partnership. The next project is still in development and currently includes only governmental partners. It started with Routt County and the City of Steamboat Springs identifying the need to create childcare for their employees and the community. Through a site selection process, they identified an underutilized plot of land that is owned by the Colorado Department of Transportation, or CDOT. Facilitated by the State Office of Public-Private Partnership, housed in the Department of Personnel and Administration, they had conversations with CDOT, who identified a pressing need for housing in order to recruit and retain snowplow drivers. This resulted in a design that includes a ground floor child care facility with housing for snowplow drivers and early childhood educators above, a unique workforce and development solution tailored to the needs and assets of the local community. Also in progress is the Confluence Center in Grand Junction and is set apart from the first two examples in that it is a collaboration between 6 small nonprofits, including Rivers Edge West, One Riverfront, Colorado National Monument Association, Colorado Canyon Association, and the Colorado Westland Trust. Like many small businesses, they found it challenging to address the childcare needs of their employee base independently, but recognized its importance. Local childcare supply gaps led to significant challenges in retaining their workforces and led to the opportunity for a collaborative solution. Anchored by the Eureka McConnell Science Museum and their existing early childhood programming and team, an opportunity arose to enhance both their mission of conservancy and the ability to support childcare needs amongst their staff and the broader community. For each of these partnerships, there was a focus on clear roles and responsibilities, strong leadership, effective communication between partners, and clearly documented and monitored resource allocation, as well as identification of prioritized needs before moving forward. We hope you learned a little bit more about successful partnerships in childcare facility development. Thank you for joining us for this session. We look forward to seeing you in session 4.